folks, this is Syntax from the Naos Project, and I'd like to thank you all again for joining me in this screencast, as well as your continued support and above all your patience. I know it's been what seems to be a lengthy road, and trust me, it has been. It's been a lot of work, but it's nothing that I wouldn't do all over again. So, with that being said, this screencast will probably be the most lengthy screencast to date, as I want to showcase version 2 a little bit, and more so delve into the, intricacies of the way we anonymize transactions a bit. It seems to be the topic of interest as of late, and there seems to be some confusion surrounding that, naturally. So what I'd like to do is try to give a better understanding of that, and exactly how it's beneficial and why. With that being said, I'll go ahead and proceed with the process here, and like I said, we're looking at a brand new virtual machine here. It's Debian 764-bit. What I've done prior to starting the screencast was taking the liberty of installing the dependencies, typical ones that you'd find on any system that has to run a coin, just different libraries and so forth. But the installer will go ahead and do that for you automatically. I just didn't want to make you all watch water boil with me. So with that being said, I'll go ahead and proceed. Since I've already ran the installer to get the deps, I'll go ahead and grab that. Now we just run it. And it is about 10 to 6 in the morning here, so bear with me if I'm a little bit fatigued, but definitely not more so than I've been in the past. So I'll explain this installer, the reason you have to run it as root. It not only takes care of dependencies to check and make sure they're on the system and then installs them for you, but also installing the base for Naos. So while it's doing that, typically what we do after is check for dependencies. If they're not there, install them, and then continue on. It's pretty much a very simple process that reaches out, generates a unique password for you, creates your config files, and then pretty much sets you on your way. You're good to go. So there's no reason to change RPC information or modify the config. As you can see, the installation is done. We'll log out as it tells us to. Start, no problem. I'm going to be using Iceweasel because it's the default that's on the system here. It's the equivalent of Firefox. You can use pretty much whatever you'd like. Now what I'll do is stray a bit from the typical roundabout here with the demonstration and kick off a few anonymous transactions, because the way they are processed and actually function are a little bit different than the norm. So with that being said, I'll kick that off. However, first I'm going to send some credit over. That way we have some funds to work with. So that should show up shortly. And when it does, I'm just simply going to send it back to myself anonymously. Excuse me. So what I'll do right here is make note real quick, put it in a buffer, that we've got this balance up here. This is the original balance, let's say. So this way, when the transactions come back through anonymously, we can go ahead and do the math and make sure everything is what it should be. So we go ahead and move forward with this. So the confirmation comes in and we get the credit. So typically right here is your dashboard, and what you'd normally see if you had your API settings in there would be your balance. The dashboard just serves as a quick view of a few pertinent information, a few pertinent pieces of information, excuse me. Right here you've got your mining information, exchange, synopsis pretty much of what's been happening. Over here you've got a 24-hour difficulty graph that we store the data for and graph it for you, just to get an idea of what's going on in the mining part of things. As promised in version 1, the pool information does work. It's completely functional. As you can see, the SHA pool seems to be the most popular. Overall, it seems to be the most popular. Getting the most action would be SHA. Another cool thing is I put up here is the last algorithm of the block found, just so some people want to know that. And then, of course, self-explanatory. mandatory Twitter updates. Down here you've got your connection and information status, how many peers, and so forth, the current block, and over here you can change your currency. So by default it's US dollars. If your local currency, let's say, is euros, click euro, and you'll notice up here within a few seconds it'll change over to euros where it says US dollars. That'll also update your config for you. That way you don't have to do it again. And so right over here, I guess we'll start off with, well, we've got our 20 now. So what we'll do is it'll give us the equivalent of our coin in Bitcoin as well as our local fiat. So I just thought that would be handy for some folks. We're going to send anonymous transactions real quick. And what we're going to attempt to do with this is demonstrate, simulate exactly what could happen, potentially in a block or two or however many. We're going to put that address up here. We're going to send, let's say, 3.78 now. It tells us right there how much we're sending. That's one little caveat right there, is the size of the box. If it's not, I guess, significant enough, if you want to call it that, large enough, it only shows you 3 decimal places, which is annoying, and I'll fix that. We're going to log it so we can keep track to make sure that the other side can't tell us we never sent it. Click send. So as you can see right here, we've got 2 transactions. If you click that, you can see the address it's sent to is NRE. The first 3 letters will start with that and reference it. Over here, NPX. Excuse me. So we're going to take note of the original address we sent to. And then we're going to go over here and see that NRE, for example, we sent here, it actually went there. Again, we sent here, it went there. Now, who are those addresses? Nobody. Those are machines. Machines off that we've spread out of the country. And the way it's set up, and I'll take a moment to just briefly explain. If anybody's familiar with the method of seed nodes with coins and so forth, where a seed node will actually keep a status of sync nodes and so forth, reliability status, if they're up or not, as well as their health and so forth, everything encapsulated there, that would determine whether or not you would send a connecting client to that node for information or not. So that's essentially what I've set up for the Arbitrush nodes. Is you've got several nodes in a group, and then several other nodes behind those and so forth. And what happens is it'll load balance the transactions on purpose for a couple of reasons. One is in the event that a node should go down, the transactions don't suffer due to that. And another reason is that it spreads it out even more. So like I've discussed in the past, and for those who are new, I'll reiterate the point, is that we're going to break down these transactions into the following ways. First, we'll have the originating points, aside from ours, obviously, to the middleman. It'll be broken down there to random addresses, each transaction. And to illustrate that point, I'll go ahead and I'll send some more, just really quickly. Send that anonymously. So as I run through these, just please take note of the different addresses used. So we sent again to this address. We click here. The beginning 3 characters were NT8. No NT8 here. Here neither. Nor here. So as you'll notice, these are 4 separate addresses for 2 different transactions. Those will be broken down further, but as far as anybody can tell, this is as far as we went right here. We never actually sent any funds over to this address. So that's going to take its time, because what it'll do, not only will it break it down into different fragments, but it will also separate the blocks in which it's sent through the fragments. And that's beneficial for a few points. And that is, for example, as you can see, there's two transactions of 1.89 naos here. Now, if somebody were to go through the chain and say, well, wait a second, I can add these up and these other fragments up, and it makes sense that at the end he got 3.78, naos. Well, that's fine, because alongside those transactions, you'll have, let's say, 0.05555, 0.067, 0.578, whatever you have. It'll be random, just little fragments. You won't be able to substantially point out that any one of those combinations of transactions was actually intended for somewhere that I sent to. In other words, you cannot pin it on me to say that I sent it over to that address, because there's no record of me sending directly to that address. With that being said, I'm going to give ARB some time to do its thing and move forward with showing you guys version 2 a little bit. We'll circle back, and like I said, the original balance is 224-661-49966, and excuse me, in a little bit we'll go ahead and check that balance out, and then we'll look at the transactions. Excuse me. So right here, obviously, is your wallet. You can do everything typically that you could in your regular wallet here. Send, receive. You have your options here, your address book, which is pretty cool. If you go into your address book, add new address. I'm just going to put that there, no problem. And we go over to send, address book. Up. That will be fixed. So you click here, it automatically fills it in for you. Just a little bit of convenience. You put 10 here, it'll tell you exactly what it's worth in terms of Bitcoin and euros, or whatever your currency you set is. Your anonymization down here again. These are just quick actions. These are pretty much actions you can access from anywhere within the system at any point, and that's just for convenience. So you don't have to, stray from whatever you're doing to send. Here's your receiving addresses. Aliases right here. You can see you can register one, but it does cost. And the reason it costs is, one, because if somebody were able to register aliases for free, they could potentially fill the alias system up. So there would be nothing left. So it'll give you a warning, and it won't let you register if you don't have the balance to go ahead and register, because it's just a waste of time. So here's your transactions. Nothing comes in here yet because ARB hasn't gone through its process yet. It's still doing its thing. With that being said, let's just go ahead and explain some of these menu options here. Block Explorer, pretty self-explanatory. Your stats, we'll go into that real quick. I'll circle back to the Block Explorer, but so these are averages calculated by us, and stats kept over a 24-hour period. And every 24 hours they update, with the exception of the market cap, which we fetch on load from CoinMarketCap. Just some folks like to know what's going on there. The averages here, the numbers you see are the average of pretty much all the exchanges. And of course you've got your mining statistics here, so you can see what's happening with the hash and where. So if you go over to pools, if you had API keys in here, which this new client does not, it's brand new, you would see some information. For example, I have my API keys in my client. Click on pools, and there we go. It tells me info about the pools that I've had miners on, my current balance there, my hash rate, which is 0 now, my worker information, and so forth. So there we go. Just wanted to point that out. If I had API key set in here right now, we would be seeing that as well. So over here you've got your status. Somebody had pointed out in version 1, once they had locked their wallet, they could no longer send, and that's a problem. So in version 2, you click lock. and it just says right here, take note of. Once you set this password, it's pretty typical, standard stuff. Once you set an encrypted passphrase in the wallet, you have to restart it. So we're going to go ahead and want to make sure I put testing very strong. Hit set password. No, never. So we'll just follow the instructions. Go over here. Start it all over again. Refresh the interface, and now we're back where we should be, and we're locked. So what that does is, if we go to send anywhere within the system, it's going to let us know we have to type in our passphrase, and you have to type it in. This is for protection. I mean, there are so many wallet stealers being released out there, and just unscrupulous programs and so forth being released, that it's something I was going to make a mandatory config, but I didn't want to force that upon anybody. I just wanted to hopefully leave that in the hands of people and let them use their better judgment. Appears your inbox. It's pretty cool. We'll circle back to that in a second. Your settings. And right here, if you were to change your daemon settings at all, your wallet settings for RPC, you could go ahead and put that in here and update it. There really is no reason to. I know some people running, let's say, P2Pool nodes for some reason with the interface might change it around, but this password is completely unique to your setup. It's randomly generated. Here you just enter in your exchange keys and so forth so you could trade, as well as your pool keys, and by default logging transactions is off, so nothing you send through will be logged. If you want to log it, then it will. Over here is chat. We went ahead and just made that a new window for the IRC client. And over here is our built-in support system, which is something I put in version 2. Support systems with tickets and so forth are nice, but I wanted to maintain that whole convenience thing. So basically what will happen is you go over here and you say, trading help. How do I make more money trading nails? Submit the support request. I'll show you what happens with that. Give it a second. Just waiting. So now I've got a notification in my my wallet, my system, that I've got a message. So over here I've got a message from you for support. I'll click on here. I can either reply or delete it. I'll hit reply. Just buy low, sell high. Send it over. Go back to our new system. So that message is sent over from me back to you for support, and within a few seconds it should be showing up right there in our inbox. There we go. Click on that, goes to our message inbox and lets us know. There we go. This also keeps a record of your sent messages, which you can delete. No problem. So going back to, so if you need help, you guys know the forums there. We're on IRC, but I added that in there so you could directly communicate with me. As I take on more people for support, trustworthy people, that message will be sent out to their wallets as well, so any number of us could be responding. But I'm very particular with who I assign to support, just for obvious reasons. And the folks existing in the team, I haven't asked them if they want to do support like that yet. So with that being said, we're going to look at the send message option. You can send messages to other users, and they can send it to you. In order to get the address that people send to, click over receive and give that out. Now, as far as aliases go, I've registered the alias syntax, obviously, so we can go to quick send, and we'll say, so see it's invalid. Now, it checks, no problem, the alias is good. I'm going to send 5 over to myself. problem there. As far as trading goes, here's where the caveat's going to come in that the quirk I spoke of is going to happen. It's going to complain about data tables because we don't have API keys set in there. So we don't have a way to access our history on Bittrex. And it complains. That will be taken care of before launch. Once again, I'll go ahead and demonstrate if there were API keys here. Excuse me. You'd be able to one-click deposit, withdraw. And the other feature is canceling all open orders. So if you want to panic cancel, either you're selling, buying, whatever, and you realize I made a big mistake, click that, boom, done. All canceled. You don't have to worry about going to each tab or anything like that. You just click these buttons once and you're done. So I'll go through this real quick. I'll actually go through it on my interface here because my API keys are in here. As you can see, it shows me my available balance pending. Poloniex does not provide a pending balance that I saw in the API, and it will give you market stats right here. Something else that I've done is we started collecting data, and we constantly do it for the exchanges that support us to build our own candlestick graphs for a 24-hour period. They will be extended out further than 24 hours, but for now, it gives you the last 24. Now, what's cool about this is you can, how can I put this? Sometimes people question the, validity of the numbers displayed in the exchange and say, how the hell are they saying 1,000 Bitcoin worth of volume? Look at the orders. And they have to sit there and poke through them and wonder. Well, now you don't have to. The reason is because we take this data directly from the order history and then we build it up and we do the math ourselves and then we generate these graphs. So you can always count on this to be as accurate as possible. With that being said, we'll just scroll down. Here's my balance over at Bittrex. What we can do, you click a row, it'll automatically fill it in for you just for convenience. I'm going to place a couple sell orders that will never fill, just for instance. So I'm going to send 10 at a rate of 0.1. Hit send, sell, excuse me. I'm going to put 15 at 0.1. Just to demonstrate. That's one open order that just went through. The other one should be showing up in a second. It's every 15 seconds or so it grabs the new data and displays it for you. So now we got those two orders. So what I'd like to do is, where do I have a positive balance? Poloniex, okay. So now we've got these two open orders here. Just keep in mind, your history is displayed here. The market history as well. It's searchable. It's paginated. I'll go ahead and skip over to Poloniex real quick. So I've got 88 naos here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put another crazy amount there. And I'm going to sell off at 0.01. I did notice Poloniex is a little bit slower in terms of response for some reason. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe they were getting DDoSed, but that's just something I'd like to make note of because I haven't found it to be the system. So there's one of our open orders. It's very much more responsive, and there's the second one. Now remember those panic buttons I mentioned. So click, click. These might take longer to disappear for some reason. We'll go over here, Bittrex, open orders. Give it a second. They're gone. Go over to Poloniex. Open orders, they're gone. So those are those panic buttons I was talking about earlier. Again, we have the stats here. Some stats differ than others, like Blue Trade. They offer, all these right here. Poloniex does not, which, it's just the difference in what they provide. So right here, you can see our balance is 224. So I'm going to go to the Bittrex right here. And I'm going to deposit, let's say, 5. Excuse me. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to say 5 again. Send it right there. So it does display your deposit address, but it's not necessary for anything other than just being aware of it. It also offers withdrawal. So right here, keep in mind we have 553 there. We're going to withdraw 10. Just bear with it a second. Keep in mind there's a lot of network activity. So here's our 5 that we sent pending deposit. Shortly this will go to 543. Our balance should reflect it up here, and this is just a quick table real quick to show you what your balances are on all the exchanges in your wallet. 543, as I said. So yeah, with that being said, I hope you've got a good idea of the functionality behind the trading. You can adjust this to say more, and you have the full order book there. But yeah, with that being said, here's another little caveat here, is the way this hangs. So you can see these little annoyances are just, they've added up on my list of things to fix before launch. And that's exactly why we have these stupid little delays. But same with Blue Trade. There's not much action on Blue Trade yet. You know, I'm rooting for them. You know, I know they work hard, and we'll just see how things shift over there in terms of NEOS volume. CCEX is ready to go inside of the client. It's just that there's an issue with their deposit address. It's not returning. I sent a request into them, and I'm just waiting for a response. Once it happens, I'll release updates. It'll be easy to replace the old files with the new ones. MintPal, I can't really test the functions without a live site. So once they're live, we'll go ahead and I'll be testing. You know, it'll just be another tab added here. It'll say MintPal. So there, yeah, that kind of blows the idea of that we were waiting for MintPal to launch to release version 2. That's just absurd. I'll move forward over to, let's see, the Explorer. It's pretty primitive in the way that, you know, it's not as fancy as Abe or Insight, but you know, it does provide the information about the blocks and so forth. I will be adding more to it in terms of a search and so forth. Whoops. Didn't tell what happened there, but you can be sure I'll look into it. What's that happen here? No, okay, so that was just a weird quirk with the Genesis block. Alright. Yeah, sorry about that. So, let's see. Do we have anything I want to get with ARB? We should. It's important to keep in mind that transactions will not show until they've got a couple confirms in the window there. If there's 0, it will not show. So, here are our sends, but those aren't anonymous. Nothing coming up. Not just yet. Oh, pardon me. I'm on mine. I'm tired. Oh boy. So, this is what it looks like if your API is not enabled. And I apologize for that. I'm just incredibly tired. We'll go back over here with our wallet. And you notice there's a little bit of a hang. I'm trying to get rid of that. There's some JavaScript files that need compression, and that's another little thing that I want to address before this gets sent out. So, you can see, for example, we sent out a total of 4. For all intents and purposes, or 5, okay? And actually 4. This was just a credit that I sent over to show the alias is working. So we've got 4 transactions. Now we go over here to anonymous transactions. We've got 16 so far. It's not done. You can see the different amounts. We've got, you know, 0.756, 0.378, 0.333334, and a whole bunch, 1667, 1875. Now, one thing that's annoying is the Block Explorer hasn't refreshed yet. It's using the wrong magic number. That's already been fixed. It just needs to update. So, as I said, the original address we sent to was here. Now, if it was anonymous, why is it showing up here? Because we told it to log for us only. In other words, the information, the outbound information from those fragments that went out in different blocks and so forth to the destinations, we're the only people that know exactly what transactions were associated for the anonymous send to this address. Because as far as everything else is concerned, all we sent was a transaction to this guy and one over here. Maybe even those weren't related either. The point is, it could be speculated, but it can't be proven. And that's something I'd like to reiterate, is that speculation is not proof. If someone were to see all these small transactions together, they couldn't say, well, alright, let's go ahead and add 375 to this one, to that one, to that one, to that one, and if we come up with 5, we know we got them. Incorrect. I mean, that's just not the way it works. Mathematically, it's proven on the blockchain that, these aren't associated directly with me. Because when I didn't send to these people. I didn't even know them. I didn't send to this, NT8 guy. I never sent to him. I sent to, my friend NRE. And I sent to my friend, NCM. I didn't do anything, to the tune of what they're telling me I did. So that's exactly what happens if you can kind of, see it in front of you now. Maybe I gave you a better visual interpretation or representation actually of what happened there. Now we've got 20. Now keep in mind, these 20 transactions, again, are only logged for us, and because we chose over here when we sent them to log. But from 4 transactions so far, we've got 20. Now they're all split up in different blocks. Some are the same, some not. But the point is, you can see that these all just went crazy. Now, I sent to 2 different people on purpose, anonymously, to show that, if a couple different people were sending anonymously, what would happen. So now we've got a mixture in one block of, let's say, this amount of nails here, 0.3333, blah, blah, blah. And then over here, 378. And then over here, we've got 756. So like I said, it could all boil down to speculation, but it could never literally be traced back to me sending from this wallet over to that address, the NT8 address. So we'll go ahead and check our balance over here. I want to just go ahead. Originally started out at 224. Only a few of those were sent back to this wallet. And the reason it's not showing up yet is confirmations. There's 0 confirmation, so obviously we can't credit the account we were sending through ARB because that's just not how it works. So what's going to happen is, once those confirmations, at least one goes through, then we're going to go ahead and see this credit. But I'd rather not sit here and make you wait with me in silence or other to see that happen. However, if somebody would like to see that happen, in the interest of shortening this screencast, make a request, and I will just simply make one screencast of the ARB transactions. But yeah, basically that's version 2. With a few things left out. I mean, there's just convenience features in here, so you don't have to leave the pages. It just pops up in separate informational modals. And it's pretty much a mixture of convenience, accessibility, privacy, and adaptability. I mean, we can build so much on top of this, and we are going to. As soon as I fix those few quirks I pointed out, and release, after the install is done for OS X and Windows, then I'm going to immediately begin working on some ideas I had while I was coding version 2. So, yeah, once again, I'd like to thank you all for taking the time to listen, and I hope this kind of cleared things up a bit in terms of any confusion or lingering confusion or interest. And if anybody needs any help, please feel free to just contact us on the forum at forum.naoscoin.com. Come on irc.freenode.net and pound Naoscoin. You can even email me directly at syntax@naoscoin.com. And for anybody needing help, I offer TeamViewer, any type of messenger, whatever gets the job done, we'll get you squared away. And once again, thanks, and I look forward to a long future with you guys. Take care.